Hidden Object Guru here with another look at some games that I've recently tried out. As always, I'm scoring these out of 10 based on how interested I am in going back and playing some more. First up is Pirate Patrol. My kingdom for a more robust tutorial. This is absolutely the kind of game I enjoy. Tactical space combat featuring a capital ship making its way through a dangerous part of the cosmos. But the tutorial doesn't do a great job of explaining how things work. There's a clunkiness to operating the ship and its array of fighters that kept me at arm's length, feeling like I was just watching the combat, not actually directing it. I know it's meant to be a hardcore experience, but I really feel like I shouldn't have gotten killed in the first fight after the tutorial. More importantly though, I shouldn't have felt like I have no idea why I lost that fight. On the upside, the game is in early access, and according to the roadmap, the tutorial is only 40% complete, so there's a good chance they could lure me back. 5 out of 10. Vestiges. It's an auto-battler set on a strange dystopian world where factions fight over water. It's set up in a pretty standard auto-battler way, using a round-based structure. Players drop characters down on the playfield and let the battle work itself out based on those units' pre-established abilities and priorities. The presentation is great. The units all have clearly defined attack types, so it's easy to figure out how to place them around the board. And there's a huge amount of strategy built into using the terrain and map layout to your advantage. I only sampled the single-player missions, but I'm excited to dig back into this and see what it's like against other players once I can get a game. 7 out of 10. Golel playtest. So this is pre-demo. It's just a playtest and it wouldn't load on my headset. So I can't give it a score out of 10. Hopefully this issue gets patched soon so I can try it out. Parasitic Descent. Hey look! It's that zombie game dev kit again. This time, sadly, there's no structure or goals I could find, beyond a brief tutorial, so I don't have much reason to go back. This is maybe the 6th or 7th time we've played this tutorial, so I can't recommend it very highly. That said, the devs were kind enough to put in a bunch of resources for the tutorial right next to the camp area, so at least I didn't have to waste a ton of time running around, trying to find basic items. Also, instead of zombies, the monsters are some sort of crazy mutant beast with bonus arms coming out of their backs. Still, not noticeably better than all of the other versions of this same dev kit I've already played. 3 out of 10. Garage Flipper. So this is a weird one. I've played a bunch of repair and flipping games at this point, rehabbing train stations, sports arenas, vacation homes, European cities, and more. This game has the same mechanics we've seen in all of the other flipping games. Take out garbage, paint walls, bring in new furniture, you're done. But this time, it's just about garages, which you don't actually flip because, they stay attached to the houses. It's such a bizarrely limited example of the genre that I don't know if I fully understand the appeal beyond novelty. There's nothing wrong with it, all of the mechanics work great, but the stakes are so low that I can't see myself going back when I could be rehabbing monasteries or airstrips instead. 4 out of 10. Kill Knight. The developers announced that they were going to make the best twin-stick shooter ever, and maybe they did? It looks chaotic, but the gameplay is flawless and incredibly addictive. I was wary at first. What kind of a twin-stick shooter needs an elaborate multi-part tutorial? My fears that I was going to be bogged down in a complicated slog were immediately allayed when I started zipping through the first map. There's a constant flow of enemies, continuous gunplay, a quick reload feature that you can either use to supercharge your basic weapons or power up your secondary abilities, and a surprisingly good melee system. There's a wide variety of weapons to unlock, tiny maps that keep the action intense, and a parry interrupt system that clearly communicates when you're supposed to attack. I honestly don't know how this could be much better. 9 out of 10. None Shall Intrude. Descent. It's a roguelite where you play as a dragon. Theoretically, you should be delighted by that combination. I know I was. I'm even able to overlook that I don't really care for deck builders, not named fights in tight spaces. I think my appreciation for this one mostly comes down to how incredibly in-depth the field mechanics are. Enemies move across a playfield covered in different types of tiles, and every power the player uses can interact with those tiles in different ways. Mix rubble with fire and it can become a landmine. Wind with wind creates a tornado, which can then be turned into a firestorm. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other options in the full version, but this demo is already incredibly promising. 7 out of 10. Pathogen X. So this is just a delight. It's as basic a setup as you can imagine. A special forces guy goes to an underground facility to recover some research and winds up battling hordes of zombies while he's there. It's stripped to the bone. There's no inventory system. The only HUD is an ammo counter and health and stamina bar. Dark tunnels, gruesome zombies, weapons that are satisfying to shoot, even some clever boss fights. I'm only an hour into this, and I'm absolutely loving the focus on the experience that the game offers. This is pure zombie shooting action, and I'm very much looking forward to finishing it. 8 out of 10. Ultimate Zombie Defense 2. It's basically more COD zombies with a little bit of extra base defense thrown in. In addition to set areas where the players can barricade windows and set up traps, they can obstruct the zombies' path with a wide variety of obstacles. Some that just eat damage, others that deal it, and of course they can drop down turrets to lay waste to zombies en masse. It's unpretentious, up to 4 people can play it at once, and every 10 levels the player gets pulled to hell to fight a demon. Heck, they even put in a leveling system and skill tree to help keep players coming back. Will it work on me? I mean, I like the genre and this is better than most, so probably? 6 out of 10. Leaf Blower Simulator. I play plenty of these job simulators. Is that because I'm hoping we can manifest a Viscera cleanup detail too? Absolutely yes. That's what I need more than anything. But until that finally happens, I'm stuck with a variety of games about cleaning, tidying, and the like. This time it's mostly about leaf blowing? And there's not enough to this demo to let me know if it's going to be worth coming back for the full game. Mostly because leaf blowing isn't that engaging of an activity? Blowing leaves around got frustrating pretty quickly, so I switched over to the vacuum, which shreds them and just puts them into bags, which, you have to end up doing anyway? But realizing I could do that just made this feel more like an activity in another more robust cleaning game, rather than a game all on its own. Maybe with some more elaborate levels and some upgrades to unlock, this will wind up feeling worthwhile, but right now it's just a little on the empty side. 3 out of 10. Turmoil Deeper Underground. Turmoil is a fantastic game. That's not a surprise. It's simple to learn. The drilling levels can be completed in just a few minutes, and there's just enough luck in the level layouts to keep players coming back over and over again. It's just a delight to play. This new update adds some fascinating complications to make the game even more addictive. Water pockets give players an additional resource to deal with, one that can be used to both speed up drilling or produce gasoline, which can be sold for far more money than raw oil. Whether playing asynchronous multiplayer or just starting a single-player campaign, it's incredibly addictive, and these new mechanics make it better than ever. And yes, I've beaten it out of 10. Scoutfold Into the Fray. The Scoutfold series, in case you're unfamiliar, is a gory-as-hell alternate history Lovecraft mythos tale about political machinations among the British Empire as they deal with cultists and world-ending threats. This newest entry has the player taking on the role of a gunslinging knight clad in a vampiric cloak who's tasked with retrieving a wayward princess. This gets unbelievably brutal almost immediately as the player explores an island overrun with monsters, both human and otherwise. The action is quick and satisfying, the writing is solid, and I love exploring this setting. That said, it would be more likely to pull me back if there was a map to help me explore the various dungeons, but perhaps that turns up later in the game? In any event, I'm already fond of the series, and this game is just making me more so. 8 out of 10. Revenge of the Ronin. I'm just baffled by this one. Should be simple enough. Run around slashing evil samurai. Also, there's giant snakes. The fundamentals just aren't there, however. The slashing is clunky, you can't lock on to enemies, and most importantly, enemies can block while the player cannot. Also, they frequently don't get staggered when they're hit. This quickly transforms combat into a baffling ordeal, where you flail at the enemies, completely unsure if you're damaging them, and then they're free to strike back at you while you're in mid-combo. The combat just isn't impactful and feels weirdly stacked against the player. I'm not going to be back for more. 2 out of 10. Iron Meat. Let's all just take a few seconds and watch this opening move. Now maybe I'm crazy, but after seeing that, do you need any more reason to buy the game? It's the game by people who made that. Of course we should be buying it. I suppose I should say something about the game itself. It's just Contra with the monstrous Geiger biomechanical horror turned up to 11. It's not even disguised at all. It's the exact Contra mechanics, exact Contra gameplay, all the same weapons, even similar animations. I know Konami is still making Contra games, but with Iron Meat out there, do they really have to? I should probably find something to criticize. Maybe it would be good if the bosses had health bars so I could see which weapons are best to use against them? Even that seems like a lot to ask when they're already delivering something this retro perfect. 9 out of 10. Gah! It's a monster dungeon, and I'm probably not going to play a lot of it. Why? Because it's MMORPG style controls. Click to move, click to attack, one slice or shot at a time, and then tap buttons to activate powers. It's just not the type of gameplay I find engaging, and never really has been. It's why I could never get into Diablo past the first game, and never loaded up World of Warcraft. Also, the AI sounding voice at the start of the game certainly didn't help matters. This isn't terrible by any means, but it's generic and a slog, so I'm not going to be playing anymore. 3 out of 10. Plot. There's a bouncing ball and it explores a cave full of traps. I'm not sure why or what I'm supposed to accomplish, but it's certainly an addictive experience. Designed with speedrunners in mind, levels are compact and full of opportunities for the player to take chances and optimize their route. At its core, however, this is an almost rhythm-based experience, as the player has to time their movements around the ball's bounces. It stays at a consistent rate, and all the player can do is jump higher or flatten it to the ground so they can roll through tunnels. The result is a precision platformer that never lets the player feel like they're fully in control, which turns out to be pretty impressive. 6 out of 10. Chaos Caster. This Magic Combat roguelike game isn't coming out until next year, but it's already in pretty great shape. There's a huge variety of spells to unlock and upgrade, a decent variety of enemies, and plenty of items to change up gameplay. It plays quickly, and it's easy to drop in and out of runs. I'd appreciate it if there was a little bit of a plot to motivate me to keep exploring the dungeons, but even in its current gameplay-only state, I'd be happy to come back for more of this. 7 out of 10. So that's what I've been playing as of late. Links to where to find all of these games can be found in the comments section below the video. If there's anything you think I should check out, drop in the comments section below the video. Play my game, Clown in the Woods, for free at itch.io. We'll see you back here when I've had a chance to play some more games, but until then I'll say that's right. Au revoir.